Hi, welcome to part one of Surprisingly Simple Secrets to Making 2020 Your Best Year Yet. I am so excited about this series. It's near and dear to my heart to help people really embrace, believe, and start living the lives that they really want to instead of the ones that they think they should or that they have just kind of fallen into. And so what I'm going to do is I'll be live here for the first 3 Fridays of December. And I want to be addressing the exact things that you need to help you move forward. And so one of the ways to do that is I'm going to put in the comments later a link to a survey, a questionnaire. If there are specific things that you would love to learn about, help that you need, that you'd like to see me do over the next few weeks, find that link and fill out that questionnaire, and then tune back in to see how I can help you in your specific circumstance. So welcome from wherever you are, and I would love for you to put in the comments where you're watching from, and if you're watching a replay later, just type replay and then where you're watching from. It's so fun to see people come together from around the world, and people that I've known for a long time, people who I've never met, people who know each other, who don't. You just never know the connections that are going to happen inside this set of sessions. And so I want to really dive in, but before we do, I want to cover a few kind of baseline things about what I'm doing and why. So I'm doing this because I have this passion for helping people rebrand their life, recreate a life, to design their own detour. So if you have been feeling any of these things, I'm feeling really stuck. I know I want to make changes in my life, but I don't know where to start. I'm overwhelmed. If you've been feeling like there's got to be more to life than how it looks right now, if you have a ton of ideas and you don't know where to start, you don't know how to choose the best idea to go with, if you know that you have a dream in your heart, but you've been afraid to put it out there into the world, if you have a gift, if you're an artist who's been hiding your talent, but secretly wishing that you could be sharing it with the world, this is for you. Because I want to tell you before we get into any of the meat of this, that I 100% believe for you, no matter where you're at, no matter how big of a rut you feel like you're in, there is hope for your future, and 2020 has the potential to be your very best year yet. But where you have to start from is knowing that you can't keep doing the same things that you've been doing for the past years over and over and over again. No more setting goals and not meeting them. No more setting goals that aren't really exciting for you. No more going for the things that you're supposed to go for instead of the things that your heart longs for. This is it. We're drawing a line in the sand, and together we're going to create both some action steps and get some clarity for you so that you can start 2020 off with a bang and know it's going to be different than all the years that have come before. Are you with me on that? Do you believe for yourself that it's actually possible? Do you believe it? Type it in the comments. Let me know if you believe it's possible. Because if you don't believe it's possible, then you're wasting your time. You've got to start with the belief that things that don't yet exist are possible for you, not just for other people, but for you. So let me know in the comments if you're in with that. Again, if you're watching on the replay, same thing. So one other really exciting thing, because I don't like to do things just like, baseline. I like to take it up a couple of notches. So I'm actually also running a contest where you can win free one-on-one coaching with me. And this is a way for you to really get unstuck. And let me just tell you a few ways that you can get entrance into that contest. The first, you're doing it right now. You're participating in these live broadcasts. So how I'll know that you're here is by commenting. So if you comment while I'm live, you get 2 entries. If you post a comment while watching a replay, you get 1 entry for doing that. And you also will get 2 entries for sharing either the video once it's finished on social media, or sharing the event invitation to invite the people that you know who need help getting unstuck. Invite them to come for future sessions. So there's an event that you can share with people, and tag me when you share it on any form of social media, and you get 2 entries for that as well. So 1 or 2 entries for commenting while I'm live, 1 entry for commenting on the replay, and 2 entries for sharing this video or the invitation for future sessions on your social media page. And what I'll do is at the end of these 3 weeks, I'm going to do a drawing, and 1 person is going to win a really cool coaching package with me and really be able to launch into 2020 with fire, power, confidence, because we're going to work together to make sure you're really clear and that you have the confidence that you need. This is a big thing to go forward. All right, so for those of you who don't know me or don't know me well, or my coaching style, every coach works a little bit differently, but so my name's Kelly Abanda, and I am a lifestyle and adventure coach. I help you unlock those creative adventure things that have been on your heart, but you've been afraid to pursue, or started to pursue and failed. I get you back on track. So that's what I love to do. But my coaching style is to ask a lot of questions. And so if you don't already have in front of you a notebook and a pen or something to write on, get that now, because I'm going to be asking you questions that you'll get the most out of our time together if you engage, you do reflective work, and you apply these things to your own life. So make sure that you get a pen and paper so that you can be writing as we move forward. So what I want to do first is to just take a step back, and I want you to do a little visualization with me. So I imagine that you're here because you know that there is more to your life than what it looks like currently. But for some reason, you've been stuck or afraid or have tried and have failed. There is something that's been holding you back. And so I want to do just a very brief little visualization with you. And so if you're comfortable and you're in a place that you can, I want to encourage you that while I guide you through this over the next couple of minutes, that you can close your eyes. And so start with just taking a really deep breath in, out, in, out. What I want you to do is to slow your mind a little bit. And if you're comfortable, just close your eyes. And I want you to imagine that we are 1 year into the future. We are almost at the end of 2020. It's a brand new decade. You've been through the first year. What looks different about your life? You can think about anything. Do you have a new career? Have you started a new romantic relationship? Have you mended relationships that are broken? Are you pursuing a dream that you've had but have been afraid to bring out into the open? Is your physical body healthier? Tell me about how you feel on the inside. Do you have peace? Are you excited? What's happening? Who are you 365 days into the future? Who are you? So if you want 2020 to be your best year yet, you have to start with at least a picture of what you think it might be. What is that for you? Feel free to type some things in the comments. What looks different in your life at the end of 2020, 1 year from now? What do you have that you don't have now? Where have you been that you haven't been yet? What do you feel that you don't feel right now? And I want you to come back to the present, and we're going to get started on some tips and tricks. So the reason that I said this is surprisingly simple secrets is because I believe as a coach, you actually already have the answers inside of you. You know at some level what it is that you're supposed to do next, but there's all these messages that get in the way. There's fear, there's past failures, there's the voices and expectations of your family and your friends and your peers around you, the culture that you live in. There are things I don't even know where to start. So you feel overwhelmed. Maybe this is a big thing that I see, and it's for myself too. We stop listening to our intuition because sometimes our intuition tells us something that doesn't make sense in our logical brain, and we learn in society to make logical choices. So something has prevented you from bringing that up and living it out. So Stephanie, I see you talked about health, excitement, and contentment and dreams coming to life. That is great. Those are fantastic things. Imagine how you'll feel waking up when you feel healthy and excited and content, and that your dreams are not just ideas, but you've actually taken action, you've been consistent, and you can see them actually happening in your life, right? Okay. So here is what I want to give you an overview of framework of the next few weeks. So I have a philosophy that there are 3 important pillars for us to creating the life that we really want, for designing our life. First of all, I want you to know and believe that you have the power to design a life that you really want. You don't have to stay stuck where you are. You don't have to keep making the same decisions you've been making because they're comfortable, because other people expect them of you, because they're the most secure thing for you. There are other ways to live. And we're going to help you over the next few weeks. But here's the 3 pillars. The first is clarity. You have to be sure about what you're going for and why. Here's why it's important for the why. If you only know, I want a new relationship, but you don't take time to think about, but why? Why do I want that? Is it because of a real desire in my heart? Is it because I think there's an expectation of the world around me? What is it for you that makes you want that thing? What are you going to gain by going after that dream, that goal? You have to know your what and your why. That's clarity. Once you know where you're going, you have to make sure that your mindset, this is pillar 2, your mindset has to support you getting to that place. Often we are our own worst enemy and we get in our own head. So if I ask you, what's your biggest barrier to living out a life of your dreams? Sometimes there are very practical, physical things like I don't have enough money. I have a family to take care of. But if you dig into those, you'll often find that there's also an accompanying mindset that's holding you back. So the second thing we need to do after we're clear is to make sure that our mindset, our thoughts, our beliefs about what's possible are supporting us getting to that vision. Does that make sense? Okay, so what are the first one is clarity, right? The second one, type it in the comments. The second one, mindset. You got to get that right. And the third pillar is action. We can sit around and make plans and have ideas until the cows come home. I don't even know where that phrase ever came from. But if we never take action, we're going to stay exactly where we are. And so we've got to get into action. And so what we're going to do this week is focus on clarity. And what I've done is taken some of the most common issues that I see among clients that I faced myself when it comes to creating the life I really want to live, the problems I see around why we're not clear. So have your pen and paper ready because I'm going to ask you some questions. Okay, so here it is. Okay, well, let me back up. Here's another thing that I think we really struggle with creating the lives that we really want, because what we do is we think about where we're at and we think about the final picture of where we want to be. And often there are hundreds of steps between here and there. So you're thinking, okay, maybe I'm 40 now, and by the time I retire, I want my life to look like X. Well, there's a lot of years and steps and possible twists in the road between here and there. and it can get super overwhelming. So the first thing that I want to challenge you to do in order to get clear is to pull back. So instead of thinking about your entire life, what I want you to think about right now is the next 12 months. Just think about, in the next 12 months, what kinds of shifts do you want to see? The thing about bringing it from a lifetime goal to a 12-month goal is it makes it a little bit smaller, so it's easier to move toward, but it also makes you have to really think about, so say for example, there's a part of you that's like, I want to start a business. And you keep saying, someday, 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 I'm going to start a business. Well, the problem is when you just say someday, that someday is probably never going to come. But if you say in the next 12 months, I want to start a business, now you have a practical thing. There's a way our psychology works that now my brain starts to kick in and I can start thinking about how to actually make that happen. Okay, so I want you to take it from your whole life down to just the next 12 months. What do you want to see shift in your life in the next 12 months? If you are still unsure of how to answer that question, I'm going to give you some categories to think about. And within these categories, so again, write these down. I'll give you these categories, and I want you to think about your level of satisfaction or dissatisfaction in these areas of your life. Once you decide I'm really satisfied or really dissatisfied, I'm going to give you the next step. But here are the categories. So think about your life right now and where you'd want to be in 12 months. Actually, no, just right now. Right now, in these areas of your life, are you very satisfied, somewhat satisfied, not satisfied at all? Okay, first category, spiritual. How are you feeling about your spiritual life? Second, your health. So this is mental, physical, emotional, your health. Third, relationships and love. Fourth, community. Fifth, professional. And sixth, learning and adventure. So again, spiritual, health, relationship and love, community, professional, and then learning and adventure. How satisfied are you with each of those areas of your life? When you do some reflection and you look at the areas that you're feeling very dissatisfied in, I want you to choose a priority. So you just choose one of those things and you say, okay, listen, I am very unhappy with my health and I know it impacts other areas of my life. So I'm going to just focus on health. Okay, in the next 12 months, what shifts in my health do I want to see? So now you can start saying, I want to go to the gym a certain number of times a week. I want to get to a point where I'm eating healthy 5 days a week and only eat bad 2. If you're, maybe it's 7 now that you're eating bad and you want to get down to 2. Like you can start thinking more specifically, how do I take this big thing, make it small enough that I can start working toward it? Are you with me? Are you tracking? I'd also love to hear, like, just off the top of your head, before you have time to do more reflection, which areas are you guys struggling with the most? Spiritual, health, relationships and love, community, professional, learning and adventure. Which are your top areas that you're like, oh, I just know this is not the best that it can be. I want it to be different. Tell me in the comments. Okay, so that's identifying your what. What are you going to focus on for the next 12 months? What shifts do you want to see in the next 12 months, right? Now, let's talk a little bit about your why. So here is something that I realize many of us are really good at dreaming up dreams, but not knowing why those are our dreams. Yes, Stephanie, health and new adventures. I like it. That's great. See, putting your just the 2 comments you've already made about wanting health, excitement, and contentment and dreams to come true, you are already like, and now health and new adventures. If you keep tuning in, because I think you're going to have some things are going to start to come together and you're going to have some great plans for 2020. Okay, so knowing why. What's your why? So there are 2 kinds of goals that I want you to think about that are dangerous goals. The first are should goals. And a should goal would be something like, I'm going to go get this promotion at work because it seems like the next best thing to do. You know, I don't actually really want that job, but what I'm supposed to do is to advance in the workplace. And this is the way that I see to advance in the workplace. So I'm going to go for that promotion. It's not coming from something that's inside of you that you really want. It just seems like, well, that's the next step that somebody else might take, that other people might expect of me. So I'm going to take it. This is a should goal, and we want to eliminate those. So as you ask yourself about the shifts that you want to make, if there are any should, when you reflect and look back, if there's anything on your list that's a should, we need to shift it. Let me give you an example in my life of a should goal. So about 4 years ago, well, for a series of years, leading up until about 3.5 years ago, I was saving money to buy a house. So at work, every time I'd get a promotion or get a raise, I would just keep putting the extra money into a savings account that I was going to use to try to buy a house. And Los Angeles is my home base, even though I'm in, I'm not very, well, it is sunny, but very cold Minnesota right now. My home base is Los Angeles. And as you probably know, the real estate market in LA is really very ridiculous. But I was saving for this because I thought it's the next thing that I should do. Like, my career is really stable. I'm at a good place in my career. And so the next responsible thing to do is to buy a house. Here's the problem. When I stopped to think about what came after reaching that goal. So I just kept thinking about, it's my goal to get a house. It's my goal to get a house. It's my goal to get a house. I wasn't thinking about, what does life look like after I've bought that house? And is that a life that I want? And when I stopped to ask that question, my answer was no. Yes, it might be the most financially responsible decision, but I did not want a life, because even with a good down payment, my mortgage in LA would have still been so large that I would have been stuck in a job that wasn't very fulfilling. I would have had to probably eliminate a lot of social activities because extra money would have to go to the house. And I would have to really limit traveling, which for me is a passion. It lights me up like nothing else. And I decided, you know what, even if this is the most financially responsible decision, it's not bringing me joy or peace or satisfaction, which are the things that really matter to me, and freedom. Those are the things that actually matter. The why of the goals that I want to pursue are because the payoff that I really actually want are those things: freedom, peace, fulfillment. And buying that house wasn't going to give it to me. So now I knew that was a should goal for me. What are the things that you have thought you needed to pursue, but they're just because you should, not because they're what you really want in your being, in your soul? It's not something that excites you. It's just because you should. We've got to get rid of those goals. But the second kind of goal to be aware of is even more dangerous. It's called a substitute goal. So we talked about should, and now we're talking about substitute goals. Substitute goals are more dangerous because they are productive. They are often in line with the thing that we really want to do. But in the end, they are a substitute goal because they're substituting for the thing that's harder that we know we really need to do. So let me give you an example again in my life of a time that I pursued a substitute goal. So for me, I've wanted to start my own business forever. I've wanted to do coaching. But if I was honest with myself, I doubted whether or not I had what it was going to take to make it possible. Would people really value the skills that I had to offer? Could I really help transform people's lives? Could I really handle being an entrepreneur? And because I had too many doubts and too many fears, I didn't pursue that. But I always still wanted to grow and to become more and to do more with my life. And so an alternative for me was going to grad school. Now, I will never regret having a master's degree. I will never regret all that I've learned and the people that I met and the ways that it shaped me. But now that I can look back on reflecting, that was a substitute goal for me because It made me feel like, well, I'm still learning, I'm still growing, I'm still leaving possibility for starting a business at some point. But what I really wanted was to start my own business and to become an entrepreneur and create a freedom lifestyle that fit for who I really am. Grad school was a good goal. It was a productive goal. It was one that was giving me growth and in a good direction, but it wasn't actually the thing that my soul longed for. So in your life, what are your substitute goals? What are the things that you're doing just because they're the easier thing, even if they're not easy? Grad school wasn't easy, but it was easier than starting my own business. It took less, it was laid out for me. I know how to succeed in grad school because I get a syllabus. It tells me exactly what I need to do. Starting my own business, you don't get that. Nobody hands you a syllabus and says, here's exactly how you'll succeed no matter what, right? Do you see what I'm saying? So we want to eliminate what kinds of goals? Should and substitute. So as you look at the things you want to shift, I'm challenging you to go in there and take out anything that is a should or a substitute goal and replace them with the things you really need to do in order to move toward the thing your soul really wants. Another way to get at that is to ask yourself, what's the emotional payoff that I'll get by making this shift? So, Stephanie, as an example, what is the emotional payoff that you're going to get by getting your health in the order that you want it to be? Are you going to have energy? Are you going to have confidence? Are you going to have peace? Are you going to be proud? What are the emotional payoffs that you're looking for? And the reason it's important to think about that is because sometimes the reward comes in a different package. So let's take, for example, you're thinking you want to shift your profession. You want a new career. And that's because in your current career, the way things look as they are today, you feel underutilized, you feel stuck, you feel like, you know what, I have more to give and it's just not going to be possible here. Maybe you have a toxic work environment, maybe there's a bad manager, or maybe the leadership of the organization is bad, or maybe there's just no possibility for growth. There are so many things that could be possible here for you. But what would switching the career give you? Are you looking for mental stimulation? Are you looking for better community? Are you looking for growth opportunities? Are you looking to utilize a gift that you have inside of you that you haven't been using? What is it that a new career you're hoping will give you? And here's why it's important to think about that. Because you only know your situation as it exists right now. But if you identify what I really want is mental stimulation, better community, and possibility for advancement, what if something happens in your current role, your current job, your current employer that opens up a brand new door? Maybe they acquire a new company and there's a new opportunity, or maybe they're purchased by somebody and they shift the way that they do things, and suddenly you have an opportunity to gain all of that emotional payoff without shifting your career. Will you consider that? If you only focus on the goal and don't think about the payoff, you might miss when it comes in a different package. So think about, what's the emotional payoff? Yes, Stephanie, you got it. Peace, energy, confidence, like all of those things, right? Those are amazing. So maybe you'll set your health goal and you'll be like, all right, I'm going to work out 4 times a week and I'm going to eat clean 5 days a week, and I'm going to start meditation practice or something to help me on the mental side of things. And say you start that practice and you realize, you know what, actually, I'm cool with 3 days a week. I'm still getting the results that I want. I'm having peace. I'm having energy. I'm having the confidence to start my family. Then maybe 3 days is okay for you. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, pay attention, dig in to that emotional payoff, because in the end, I don't care how logical you are. I don't care how much you try to make linear decisions. We are emotional beings, and there is emotional payoff that you're looking for. And so think about what it is that you're hoping to gain from these shifts. Are you with me? Okay, we're almost done, you guys. I am so happy that you have stayed with this conversation. And I really encourage you to be, taking notes and engaging. Come back to this space. If you get stuck and have questions, just make sure you tag me. So just do @KellyAbanda and then ask your question or tell me how you're stuck. And then I'll respond either with some immediate solutions, or I'll say, hey, that's great. We're going to talk about those things in the coming weeks. So please, I want you to be engaging with this. I will tell you 100% for certain with coaching, I can show up and give you all the tools, but until you pick them up and you do the honest, authentic self-reflection, you won't make any progress, because ultimately it's you, right? You're the one. And you're here. I give you probably pat yourself on the back, give yourself a round of applause, because you have shown up to say, look, I know that the way I've been doing it hasn't gotten me to where I need to go. I need help. I need outside resources. I need outside accountability. I need outside encouragement and support. So thank you for being here. And I applaud you, because so many people aren't doing that work. So before we wrap up today, I want to address a couple of common questions around, or concerns that I see around this area. So I posted some of these earlier in the week, and I'll continue posting things that we'll be addressing through the next couple of weeks. But here is a huge one. You know what though, Kelly, I have too many ideas and I just can't choose which one to start with, because I could think of ideas until the cows come home. I'm going to give you 2 ways to get clear on what the best idea is to move forward. So ask yourself this question first. If you had to make a choice in the next 30 minutes, you only have 30 minutes, you can't overanalyze, you just have to make a choice, what does your gut say is the best thing to start with? You only have 30 minutes to decide. That's it. You've been thinking about this for a really long time and weighing things out and overthinking and overanalyzing. You have analysis paralysis. The problem is, if you stay there, nothing changes. All the things that you're afraid of about making the wrong choice, listen, nobody has ever made a perfect plan and it's executed exactly the way that they expected, because here's the thing, you don't yet know what you don't know. And you're only going to learn those things by taking action. So what does your gut tell you if you have 30 minutes to make a decision? What's the best thing for you to do first? My other encouragement to you to really, this is for you if you're really ready to be challenged, take the thing that's the scariest on your list and make that your priority. Ooh, that's heavy. Take the thing on your list that's the scariest and make that your priority and see what happens. Don't get overwhelmed about having to do everything. Start with one thing and start taking action. Clarity comes from action. You will learn in the process the things that you don't yet know. And here is a freeing thought. You can always shift later. You can always shift later. It's okay if you make a choice and 6 months down the road, you realize, you know what, this choice isn't working the way I thought. I need to shift. It's okay. You'll only know that if you take action. So choose something and start moving forward. Trust your own self. You will get through whatever comes up. You can do this. So the best choice is the one that you start doing now. The one that you start doing now. You can always pivot later. Don't worry about getting it perfect the first time. The second, I'm not sure what I really want. I just know I want to change. So many people are here too. They know that they're not satisfied, but they can't quite pinpoint. They're like, look, my life on the outside looks successful. I should feel satisfied. I have a good job. I have good community. Maybe I have a partner. Maybe I've got money in the bank. Things are okay, but I'm not satisfied. First of all, I want to acknowledge it's okay that you don't feel satisfied. The problem is you've been pursuing things that aren't the things that your soul really wants and needs. You're pursuing things that you should pursue, and they'll never bring you the full satisfaction. You've got to start pursuing the things that you really want to pursue. You've got to make that shift. But if you're really unclear, you're like, I really have no idea, go back to those categories I listed earlier and just think about where you're the most dissatisfied and start thinking about what are some small things I could shift in that area. Again, action is the key here. Start moving in a direction and you'll be amazed. I have this saying that I talk about, that magic, that thing that can only happen when supernatural powers are coming together. The universe is working for you. God is on your side. That miracle space only happens at the intersection of planning and leaping. If you spend all your time trying to make the perfect plan and never taking a step, the magic doesn't happen. If you only ever jump without thinking about where you're actually headed, you'll probably hit a wall quickly. But magic, those things, those opportunities that come that we could have never designed on our own, come when you start taking action. You make a plan, you start taking action. That intersection right in that sweet spot is where magic starts to happen. So you've got to take action. Here is the other thing that I see with clarity. Why people can't get really clear. It's because, again, they're getting overwhelmed by all the possibilities or all the things they need to do between here and there. So like I mentioned before, if you are thinking to yourself, you know what, I know I need to change, but it seems insurmountable because there's so much to do. I have so much work to do before I get to the place I really want to be. You get overwhelmed. So bring it back. Just think about the next 12 months. What's something you can do just in the next 12 months in that area? Just in the next 12 months. What is something you could shift in that? So if you're thinking about your health and you're like, man, all the things I want to do, it's a lot. And I just, you know what, I'm overwhelmed. I'm just not going to do anything. Bring it back. What do you want to shift in the next 12 months? What do you want to see different just in a year? Be realistic with yourself, narrow it down, and start taking action. Again, action is so key here, you guys. It's so key. All right. So here's another question another issue that I see with people about not being able to get really clear. And that's, you know what, if I'm honest, I know what I really want. I know the life I really would like to be living, but I really doubt that it's even possible for me. Maybe for other people it's possible, but it's not possible for me. I encourage you, if this is you, tune in next week because we're going to start talking about mindset and how to align your thoughts and beliefs to support you in getting to the places that you're setting out to go. If your mindset doesn't support you, you'll never get there. And so we'll talk next week about how to start rewriting those scripts that have been keeping you back, that holding you back. I can't do it because it's okay for somebody else, but not for me. I don't have what it takes. I can't possibly, I can't, it's not possible. All of those things, they're not supporting you and we've got to get rid of them. So next week, I'll address how to start shifting those beliefs. Again, I want to encourage you that as you're doing reflection this week about getting clear and thinking forward about mindset and action, post in here if there are things that you want me to address. Just make sure you tag me so I see your comment. Be like, hey, Kelly, I really struggle with having the right thoughts and I don't know what to do. Or how do you get over a past failure? Or how do you deal with the expectations of the people around you when they don't match what you want? What are the things that you think are going to hold you back? Put them in the comments here. Be brave, be bold, do it, because then I can help you. I can only help you if you speak up, right? So be brave, be bold, put it in the comments. And I will also list this here, but I just want to, if you really feel like I just cannot get clear, I invite all of you, I offer a free 20-minute phone call where you and I together can talk about, where it is you're trying to go and what's holding you back. I'll do a little bit of coaching in that 20 minutes, but also we'll talk about together whether or not some one-on-one or group coaching fits for you so that you can really continue to take action. The testimonials that I get from people who invest in themselves in this way are life-changing. People say, like, listen, I started doing this coaching because I wanted to make this little change, but because we've dug deep and gotten to some roots, I get this much change and it impacts all of my life. So if that's you, you're somebody who's like, look, I'm really ready to dig in and I know I need support. I encourage you to sign up for one of those 20-minute calls and together we'll discover whether or not it makes sense to continue seeking the ways that I can support you as a coach. But regardless, I invite you all to participate in these next couple of weeks. Go back and rewatch the videos if you need to, take your notes, do your reflections, and remember that contest too. So I will be paying attention. If you share this video or the invitation anywhere on your social media, Facebook, Instagram, make sure you tag me, okay? You can tag me at Design Your Detour on either one, or my personal Facebook, which is Kelly Abonda, or my Instagram is Beautifully Lost and Found. So any of those ways, tag me, and you get two entries for that. And if you're watching the replay, 1 entry for commenting, participating in the video. And then next week, again, you'll get two entries for being live and commenting in the box while we're live. So Stephanie, you got a couple of entries. Anyway, all right. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. And if there are specific things that you want to be hearing and learning about in the next 2 weeks, post it here and tag me so I can see it and do my best to incorporate and get to everybody's questions before we end our time together. So enjoy your weekend, do some reflection, work on your clarity over the next week. And then when we're together next week, we're going to start tackling mindset. So thank you all for being here. And if you're watching the replay, please comment and I will respond to you there as well. All right. Blessings to you, everybody. And I really believe that 2020 is going to be your best year. You just have to decide that you're going to do things differently than you've done them before and stick to it. So Stephanie, you didn't even know there's a contest. Well, congratulations. There you go. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. All right. Thank you guys for being here, and look forward to seeing you again next week and chatting with you through the comments throughout this next 7 days. All right. Bye, everybody.